Trans-Pacific Partnership is a multilateral free trade agreement. It was signed on February 2015 and it involves Japan, Australia, New Zealand, Malaysia, Brunei, Singapore, Vietnam, Canada, Mexico, Peru, and Chile. Besides the topics that are normally included in free trade agreements, such as access to markets or rules of origin, the TPP also includes intellectual property, electronic commerce, and facilities for small and medium enterprises. The TPP will allow Mexico to have preferential conditions on markets in Asia and the Pacific, representing around 2 million of consumers. A statement made by the Mexican government says that by the year 2035, Mexican exports to the other members of the TPP will increase 3.1%, mainly in agricultural and industrial products. I would recommend that this treaty would also focus on protecting the local producers, since some of them could be affected by an increase in imports.
So now I'm gonna talk about the Transatlantic Free Trade Area. It's also known as the Transatlantic Trade and Investment Partnership, and it's between U.S. and Europe banks. And they want to rewrite the safeguards behind closed doors. The scope is about food, medicine, cars, climate, energy, and other financial regulations. One real example about a loss is that European tech corporations have recognized that there are differences between Europe and US toy safety regulations, including flammability, chemical, and microbiology hazards. They stated goal is to trust the safety of toys inspected abroad. So this is a big example of loss because they need to put into an alliance what are going to be the new regulations. And one benefit is that American goods sold in Europe could become cheaper, and US and Europe firms could create.
I'm going to talk about the Asian Pacific Economic Cooperation (APEC). Established in 1989, APEC aims to create greater prosperity for the inhabitants of the region, equitable economic growth, and other benefits. The members stay involved and 21, between them Mexico, Australia, Canada, Chile, and more. By the way, Mexico became a member in 1993. The objective of Mexico was to expand and diversify the economic link with Asia Pacific and have a greater economic presence.
The Free Trade Area of the Americas was also known as FTAA. It was a proposed agreement to eliminate or reduce the trade barriers among all countries in the continent. With 34 members, excluding Cuba, the FTAA began on December 11, 1994, with the Summit of the Americas in Miami, Florida. But it was in 2001 when this treaty came to public attention because of the protest in Quebec City Summit of the Americas. It didn't have the benefit that they wanted to improve the economy of the countries, but it affected the small producers of each of them. For example, if the current trend continues with the FTAA, at best, over a 5-year time period, 350,000 more jobs will be lost in Mexico's agricultural sector, and that number could go up to 750,000 more jobs.
What should be improved in Mexico's future trade policy is the protection of local markets and producers. The TPP was heavily criticized in Mexico since the preferential treatment of foreign products might affect local producers of shoes and textile products specifically. This is something that could happen if treaties are not reviewed correctly by the government, and it would cause serious damage in our local economy.